What if I told you? The most mysterious character in The Lost Boys wasn't David, wasn't Max, wasn't even Grandpa, but Star, a girl trapped between life and death, love and blood, freedom and damnation. In this video, we're pulling back the curtain on Star, the runaway who became a half vampire, the reluctant bait for David's gang, and the girl who risked everything to protect Michael and Laddie. Her story is darker than the movie ever showed, filled with abuse, betrayal, and the hunger she fought every single day. By the end, you'll understand why she was in Santa Carla, and why her survival is one of the strangest tragedies in vampire history. Before Star ever set foot on the boardwalk, she was already broken. She had a father who wished she had never been born, and a mother who almost killed her, and scars that speak louder than words. With no home left, no love to keep her tethered, Star did what so many lost kids in the 80s did. She ran. Santa Carla wasn't just a town. It was a magnet for the forgotten, and she was one more runaway, sleeping on the beach until David found her. David didn't just stumble across her, he recruited her. At first, Star must have seemed like another lost soul to him, but she was more than that. She was bait, a way to lure others, like Michael, into the gang's orbit. But David never gave her warmth, never treated her like family. He showed her nothing but control. He slept away from her, ignored her. And the one scene where they interact, it's not love, it's power. David reminding her she had no real choices anymore. At some point, Star drank vampire blood. She was tricked, the same way Michael was. And from that moment, she lived in horror. She refused to feed on humans. She resisted the hunger, but hunger doesn't disappear. It grows. Every day she starved herself, it became harder to hold on. Imagine the temptation, walking the boardwalk at night, hearing every heartbeat, smelling the blood under every inch of skin. That's the world Star lived in. When she tried to leave, David played his cruelest card, Laddie, a little boy, innocent, helpless, also half-turned, just like her. If Star walked away, she'd abandon him to the monsters. If she stayed, she had to keep feeding her own curse. David knew it, and so did she. So she became Laddie's protector, his shield, his surrogate mother, the one person standing between him and full damnation. Then came Michael. On the boardwalk, she wasn't just a mysterious beauty. She was temptation wrapped in tragedy. She was bait, planted to lure him. But something changed. When Michael drank the blood, when he felt the curse spread through him, Star didn't push him deeper into the gang. She tried to pull him out. She warned him. She loved him. Their intimacy wasn't just romance, it was survival. Two half-vampires clinging to each other in a storm that could swallow them whole. And by the time the battle began at the Emerson house, Star was already caught in the middle. The Frog Brothers saw her and Laddie as monsters and tried to stake them. Forced into hiding, she held Laddie close, whispering promises she wasn't sure she could keep. When Laddie lost control, snarling and transforming, Star didn't run. She stood in front of him, begging the hunters to see. He's just a little boy. Later, when Max revealed himself as the true head vampire, Star fought back, attacking him with a lamp in a desperate move. It didn't work. He threw her to the floor like she was nothing. Only after Max died was she free. Her humanity returned. and she clung to Michael and Laddie as if she could hold them together with sheer will. After the Santa Carla nightmare, she tried to live a normal life with Michael, away from the shadows of the boardwalk. Yet fate is rarely that kind. Years later, tragedy struck. Michael and Star were killed in a sudden car accident, their story cut short before it ever truly found peace. But the bloodline didn't end with them. Their children, Chris and Nicole Emerson, would inherit the tangled legacy of their parents. And when the next generation of vampires emerged in the tribe, it was Chris and Nicole who found themselves drawn back into the same violent cycle of temptation, blood, and survival. Star may have escaped the curse of eternal night, but through her children, the story of the lost boys lived on, and the darkness followed. Star is more than a love interest, more than a side character. She's the heart of the Lost Boys. Think about it. Without her, Michael wouldn't have been drawn into David's world. Without her, Laddie would have been abandoned to the darkness. Without her presence, there would be no thread of hope, no fragile lifeline pulling the story back from pure chaos. But Star is also a tragedy. A girl caught between two worlds, too human to give in to the blood, but too bound by David's control to escape. She's manipulated, used as bait, forced into Michael's orbit, not out of free will, but because she was ordered to seduce him. That's not romance, that's a survival. Her very name, Star, suggests light, beauty, and guidance. But in Santa Carla, she was never allowed to shine. She was dimmed, suffocated under the neon glow of the boardwalk and the shadow of David's gang. She's a prisoner dressed like a queen, a runaway who traded one nightmare for another. And if you pay close attention, the movie itself tells you this. Watch her body language, watch her eyes. Star isn't carefree like the vampires around her. She's tense, guarded. Every look she gives Michael is half love, half fear. When she holds Laddie close, it isn't just protection, it's desperation. She's clinging to the last shred of innocence left in her world because she knows the bloodlust will eventually claim him too. Star isn't just the girl in a horror movie. She's the emotional compass, the one who reminds us that behind the leather jackets, the motorcycles, and the roaring soundtrack, this is still a human tragedy. She embodies the cost of David's reign, not just blood spilled, but freedom stolen. And in the twisted fairy tale of Santa Carla, Star becomes the silent glue holding the story together. Michael may be our hero, David may be our villain, but without Star, the story collapses. She's the secret heartbeat of the film, the lost soul who makes the nightmare mean something. And yet, her fate is cruel. We like to imagine she and Michael escaped happily ever after. But as the sequels reveal, their story wasn't a fairy tale. Their lives ended in tragedy. And it's through their children, Chris and Nicole Emerson, that her legacy carried forward into the Lost Boys, the tribe. If you want to find out how her bloodline survived, and how the cycle of vampires and hunters continued into the next generation, click the video on screen now.